Hey, welcome to Dynamic Conveyor. This afternoon, I'm going to show you some really cool tips and tricks on how to assemble our DynaRoller system. All right, this is a zero pressure accumulation system that we have offered for sale. And here's what this one's going to look like. It's a simple little system, but I recommend you watch this. There's just a few little tricks you need to know that'll make your life a lot easier. Now, we're working with this drawing. You can see my components in the background. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 sections that need to be put together. All the wires plugged in, the legs mounted up and everything. Let me show you the tools you're going to need to do every bit of this job. It's a 13 millimeter 12 point, 13 millimeter socket. This is a little Torx T25. I'll show you what we use that for, all right? And this is just a little regular flat screwdriver that I use to help me put these fasteners in place. Now here's the fasteners, they're over here. This of course is a leveling pad. Pretty self-explanatory. Screw it right into the bottom of the leg. No big deal there. But you have these little T-headed fasteners. And these are what hold the legs on, and they also hold the frame together. Difference being, the ones that hold the legs on are slightly bit longer than the one that holds the frame together. The one that holds the frame together is going to go right in the middle of this frame. The ones that hold the legs on are going to be what I use to hold the legs onto that. So make sure you make note of that. Use the long ones for the legs, little shorties for right in the middle. The other fasteners you'll be working with are these 13 millimeter bolts, all right? And there's what, when you push these frames together, that's what you use to bolt them all together so they don't move around, all right? And that's it. Now this job's about a 3 out of a 10 on difficulty scale, but you need the right tools, you need to go slow, you need to pay attention, don't over tighten anything. Let me get started for you. Now I'm going to use this short one. That's going to go right in the middle of this. That's going to hold my clamshells together. I'm going to put it on this side only because my power supply is on the side with the motors. So I don't want to bolt that thing tight together right yet, but I can do it on the front. And I'm going to mount these legs on the front so you see how these little fasteners work. Again, I'm going to be using my 13 millimeters. I'm going to be using this little screwdriver. So let's have a go at this. I'll be back here so you can sort of see what I'm doing. This little shorty is going to go right up front. These long ones are going to go in here to hold this leg on. Just space your legs wherever you feel comfortable with. You want to sort of allow access underneath these cross members so you can put your power lines in under these access holes if you have to. So just put them wherever you feel comfortable where it's going to balance out your system the best. Now these little T-headed bolts, the way they work, once you start tightening them up, it's supposed to spin in here. I don't know if you can see this very good. Let me try to put them down in this rail, slide them 90 degrees. You can see I could pinch this frame together a little bit. Now right there is where I want that. I also want to stabilize this platform now so I won't. So here's my little short one. That's going to go right in the middle here. I'm going to need my little screwdriver to help push that 90. There. So like I said, you need a little bit of dexterity, and you don't have to be strong on your wrenches at all on this stuff. Just get them snug for now. You see that? I hardly used any force at all. So now that I got that one done, I'm going to come back here, make sure my little T is at a 90. I'm going to use my little screwdriver to hold it in place. Don't even have a... All right, got that one. You grab this one, put it in the other side. Slip it up, try to get it a little bit hand tight. Hold that little T. Apply some upward pressure so I can There we go. All right, now that side of the leg's all bolted on. Let me move up to the next one. I'm going to put it about the same spot on my conveyor section as I do on the other side, so it looks nice and even and it's holding about the same amount of weight. Got a couple more of these fasteners back here. Drop them in. Get them up into where they belong. Sort of hold it. And you got to get several turns before your ratchet is even going to have enough tension to fire off. Feels good. Grab another one. Oh, that's a shorty. This is a long one. Slip it up in there. Get it spun 90. So like I told you at the beginning of this, there's a few little tricks to make your life a lot easier, and having some sort of little screwdriver like I'm using here is one of them. There. Now I can jam it so that my T-nut doesn't spin so much. All right, got that. Now on this back side, I'm going to get them in place, but since I'll be removing this cover to allow access to my wiring, I'm going to need to leave it loose. But right now I'm ready to flip this whole thing over. I'll mount those from underneath, but I have to have it inserted into here and to be able to plug my wires in, all right? So I need that panel off. First thing you want to do is place this where you want it to go. Since it's the heaviest, level it all up, then you bring your other modules in and connect them to this one. Couple little tricks with this now. These little tabs here, as you see these bolts are in here, they're in here as a placeholder, okay? So you take these out, first of all, take all of them out, put them up where you can get your hands on them when you need them. And these got a tapered end on them, so it'll help you locate the holes once you slide these two panels together, right? Yeah, it's still a little tight. Let me get some of these out of the way. And there is a trick to this I'll show you. It involves these little corner finisher caps, okay? So I got both my screws up here. I got my cap up here. Let me get this other bolt out of the way. Still a little tight. All right. Okay, now we're all set. Now here's where you use your T25 Torx bit. That's the first thing you do with this. Once you're ready to slide them together, you want to take that paddle off of that side. The only way you can do that is to take these two little Torx screws out of the back end of this. You can leave them halfway in the plastic if you want. All right, that pulls off. Now you can see this tab is wider than that tab, so when you put them back on, make sure you get them in the right location. It won't go on this way, obviously. Okay, now this panel is loose. Okay, I can slide it around if I want. Give me access to those wires. Let me slide it back so you can see exactly what is in here. This will also come all the way off, but if I don't have to, I won't take it off. Here's all my drives and all my controls, and that's where these two wires are going to plug in correspondingly to this jack and that jack, yellow, black. Pretty easy thing. But now that it's out of the way, all right, let me show you how to join these two pieces together. Got my access panel loose, I got my power wires, and this is where they plug in here and here, but I need to bring these tabs into these sockets so these bolts can go through and hold it in place, all right? So let me get this sort of slid up. Make sure my wires are out of the way. Get it going. Get it going on this side. Let me get around this way a little bit. See, now it just slides together. But see, I need a little bit of room so I can get my little tiny hands in here. Plug the yellow into the yellow side, black into the black side. So I'm going to do that right now. Got them both nice and secure. They're not coming out. So now I'm going to push these two together, and this corner segment goes in here. If I push it all the way up right now, I can't get this corner segment in. So you want to put this in or get it started before you bring them together all the way. Before you finish putting your bolts in, you know. Let me get the one on the other side. And let's see if I can move this up. It's coming. And there, we got it. See? Cool. Now we need our big bolts, and they go in underneath. So, of course, you got to get down here. Take your socket again. This is where you might need your box end wrench as well, just depending on how much room you got to work with. And that's where I'm going to put these through the holes. All right, that one's lined up perfectly. And then correspondingly on this other side, I'll put that one in over there. But this is at the point, I got my wires hooked up, I got my bolts sort of started. That's when I can slide this rail back up, make it match up like that. Now, that's where I can come back here, put my Torx, put my little piece back on, end cap, zip, zap, zoom. Here's some mounting bolts for this leg. Here's some for this leg, and one of these again, it's going to be shorter than those others. This is the short one that's going to go right up in the middle to secure these panels together. These are going to secure that leg to the frame. These are going to secure that leg to the frame. All right, now I'm going to show you these last two modules. We already got that one assembled. This one's assembled. Everything's sort of hand tight, a little bit snug, because you're going to want to snug everything down after you got everything fully assembled, just like any particular job. So here's your last straight section. Remember your little elbow. Make sure that's an area where you're going to be able to get to it. I got this panel slid back so I could access my wires. Now let me get this thing moved up in here a little bit. Hang on. Let me get it started, and there she goes. So now let me bring it all the way in. Make sure my corners are there. A little bit more, nice and tight. That's when I'm going to start putting my screws back in underneath here. Bolt this to this frame. All right, I got my frames together. I'm going to hook up the wires right over here. Again, they're just in these little phone jack type of things. Black goes to black, yellow goes to yellow. Plug them in, just like this. Once I got them good and tight, they're not going anywhere. Cool. Now I can slide my frame back up, take my Torx, slide my frame up, take my end cap, or if I had another section, this is where I would bolt another section on, just the same as we just did. Okay. And that's all there is to it, putting together a DynaRoller system. Come back and tighten everything down, and you're good to go. Check it out, make sure it runs. But give us a holler if we could help you. Just a few little tricks, and I'll know you appreciate them if you watch this video.